and take a look at third-party providers. Also, don't use it as the gospel of truth for a variety of different issues that were already mentioned. So many of the third-party providers really focus on kind of equity language and kind of equity worldviews as opposed to fixed income. So that makes it a challenge in and of itself. So we are doing our own kind of proprietary primary research on all these topics and then creating our own ESG scores. One thing that I think is very important is doing the upfront work. So we spent a lot of time building our own framework for, what are the dimensions, say, in the financial services sector that are important to consider, and where are we getting those data points? So there are 11 factors that we look at that influence our ESG scores in the financial services industry, and those are totally different than the 10 plus factors that are for utilities sector. So we have different factors that are important to look at for each of the sectors and subsectors that we take a look at. And then even from there, we have a different weighting methodology for the E, S, and G, because, in the example again of financials versus utilities, governance is probably more of an important score for a financial services industry issuer than the environmental side, where they just don't have that many levers to pull on the environmental side, whereas it's the exact converse on the utility side, where they're going to have much more influence on the environmental side, and so we want to weight the E more so than we do on some of the other factors. So doing that upfront work and getting that framework in place, I think, helps focus the mind and get you to the right place earlier, to try to triangulate all of the thousands of data points that you could be taking a look at. Then what do we do with that information? In our dedicated ESG portfolios, we are actually optimizing to create a portfolio that has a higher ESG score. So we are looking to not include low ESG score names in the portfolio and look to tilt toward those that have higher ESG scores. What does that mean? We need to actually have ESG scores as a starting point. And that's where all the work that gets done on the analyst side is so important. And then also focusing on what are the trends and what's the engagement work that we're doing with the issuers that we're covering. But our ESG portfolios are literally optimizing for higher scores on the ESG side.